The Prime Minister and Premiers will reconvene tomorrow to talk strategy. They're charting the progress they've made since U.S. President-elect Donald Trump threatened Canada with punitive tariffs. There's plenty to chew over, including a provocative social media post from Trump. The CBC's Marina von Stackelberg has the latest for us from Ottawa.
Well, we know that this is the second time that the premiers have met with the prime minister to talk about the Trump presidency, but this one comes with a little bit of added oomph based on what we've heard from President-elect Donald Trump since last night. So we know that Trump has been making this joke that Canada should be the 51st state of the United States and that Justin Trudeau could be the governor. And we know that Trump joked about this already once when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau flew down to the United States to dine with Trump. It was a joke that he made last month. We know that this has kind of come after this threat that Trump has put forward that he would put a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods coming into the United States. And we know that Trump also told NBC on Sunday that if the U.S. was, in his words, going to run up a lopsided trade deficit from Canada, that Canada might as well become one of the states. So he then took to social media last night, just after midnight, to post about this. He wrote, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all." And so we know that the premiers will be meeting tomorrow with Trudeau, the second time, as I mentioned there. Doug Ford was asked today, Ontario's premier, what he thought about Trump's comments. Have a listen.
Well, you know, that's the president's words. I can tell the president, I'm sure not thinking of Justin Trudeau at midnight. So if he's thinking of Justin at midnight, it's probably a good relationship. But I'm focused on making sure we get this trade deal done and making sure it's fair on both sides of the board. Let's have a fair trade.
And Ford saying that, Trump shouldn't be worried about Canada, its friend and ally, that it has other countries that, Trump should be focusing his attention on. And Ford was asked about this meeting that will be happening tomorrow afternoon, just what he's expecting. And he commented that he is hoping that the federal government has got a plan in place to strengthen the Canada-U.S. border and spend more on defense, which are two key demands that Trump has made in order to not put this tariff on Canadian goods.
And so, Marina, a lot of people are seeing this as the president-elect trolling the Canadian government, maybe disrespecting, maybe just thinking of Canada or Prime Minister Trudeau as a joke. I'm not sure. Why might he be doing this?
Well, we have heard the Canadian government speak out against these tariffs, saying that Canada was ready to respond to these. But Prime Minister Trudeau did make some comments last night in Halifax at a speaking event he was at, saying that Canada would be prepared to respond to these unfair tariffs. Have a listen to more of what he had to say there.
First of all, let's not kid ourselves any way, shape, or form. 25% tariffs on everything going to the United States would be devastating for the Canadian economy. It would require us to pull together and support each other and hang in there to prevent just horrific losses in all of our communities for everyone.
And Trudeau has, he's talked about this. He talked about it last night as well, that, Canada has responded in the past to Trump tariffs. You might remember that Trump put a tariff on Canadian aluminum and steel, and Canada responded with a dollar-for-dollar tariffs on U.S. goods coming into Canada and actually got that tariff removed. And so that's something the federal government has been pointing to as, an example of how it's dealt with tariff threats in the past. We know that Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, though, in reaction to some of these comments made over the weekend from Trump, he's accused Trudeau of being weak, someone that he says gets no respect from other countries, and someone that, Trump can take advantage of. We did ask cabinet ministers here in Ottawa heading into their meeting today what they thought of Trump's comments. Have a listen.
The very first meeting that the president had with a G7 country was with Prime Minister Trudeau. That seems serious.
I want to remind Canadians as well as Americans that Canada's trade with the United States supports over 3 million jobs in the United States. We are taking this seriously.
Look, there's a lot of things that are said, and I don't know the context But I do know the importance of the relationship, and that's what we need to stay centered on.
What is like?
Well, it sounds like we're living in an episode of South Park.
Episode of South Park, Mark Miller there, the immigration minister, referencing, a South Park song that basically has Americans blaming Canadians for everything and accusing Canada of not being a real country. But Miller also adding in his comments there that we shouldn't be looking at social media posts to guide public policy.